Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
And good morning to you, or good afternoon, in fact, if you're listening to this in the afternoon, or for that matter, happy 3 a.m. I don't know. I'm Lynn Cullen. We're going to be with you for the next hour or so. And it's a Tuesday, and on Tuesdays, as tradition dictates, my sister Susan joins us from wherever the hell she happens to be, and it's one of those big square states today. Susan. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? You're in Montana?
I'm in Red Lodge, Montana. Yeah.
Red Lodge, Montana?
In Red Lodge, Montana.
Red Lodge, Montana. And so what the hell is in Red Lodge, Montana?
Well, my nephew and his wonderful girlfriend, for one thing. And so my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and me are visiting them. But I am so damn grateful. I never would have come here.
Right.
And I have to tell anyone who has just gone, I go to Montana. Go to Montana.
Because of the sheer physical awesomeness of it?
Because of the sheer physical awesomeness of it, one thing.
Yeah.
Because it's an American community, Red Lodge, like you don't see anymore. My sister-in-law, Susie, keeps wanting to stop and take a picture of the town, which itself is nestled in the valley between what they call two benches. And benches are huge cliffs, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so you look down into what looks like the little town in Beetlejuice. It just looks like a little train town down there.
Uh-huh.
And it was sort of built in the late 19th century, and that's what's there.
And it was built for what? I mean, why were people there
for
then?
Mining. It was probably a little mining town.
Uh-huh.
There are mines in the mountains all around us for everything from coal to various precious metals, copper, palladium, stuff like that.
So what is it now, though? What is it now?
Now it's a town where people live. It has more than its share of ceramic artists.
That's why your nephew's there. He's an artist.
Both of them are there.
Okay.
They are both fine artists, and there are a lot of artists scattered around here, and the ranch folk enjoy learning the process. So there's a lot of classes, and the people around here live very isolated lives. So they make their own, entertainment and fun, and part of it is being very hands-on craftsy, it seems, because there are a lot of artists out here and a lot of fine facilities for artists out here. And a lot of people, it turns out, from Wisconsin. I keep running into Wisconsin artists who live here. I keep hearing the accent.
Oh, hey. So
and I identify myself.
But
anyway,
that accent could be Montanans who sound like that because
Well, yeah, but they aren't. They're from Shawano and La Crosse.
Jeez. Shawano.
They're really from there, yeah. But it's a little town. It's the shopping's fun because there
ain't no Walmart.
No, you know what there is?
What?
A Shopko.
Oh my God, you're kidding me. Guys, we got to explain what that means. A Shopko. Susan, explain.
A Shopko is like a Kmart or,
it's like a Kmart.
One of the original big box stores. It was started
in the 50s.
Late 60s.
No.
I mean, late 50s.
Late 50s.
By a group of people
from Minnesota.
That included our dad.
Yes. So our father owned the land on which the first ever Shopko, right, was built.
And in fact, the company that Dad formed still owns.
Right. It's still there, the original Shopko. But so Shopko became a regional, big box store of that vintage, and that it's still alive is amazing to me.
Yeah, well, it just cracked me up. We had the TV on, and I thought I heard a commercial for Shopko, and I had to watch the whole commercial to get to the end, and sure enough, there it was. And then
Shopko.
on our drive to Yellowstone, I saw it.
Wow.
But
wow.
So we're just sitting in this little town, and outside of our window, of course, are things like deer and wild turkeys and.
Yeah, but that's true in Pittsburgh too. So you got to do better than wild turkeys and deer.
But not quite like the same in Pittsburgh. We took a walk last night down to a little one of the many beautiful rushing streams that go through this land. And we get to a little park, and the park is just filled with roosting turkeys at the top of the trees, which is something you do not see in Pittsburgh, because our turkeys don't do that.
Roost in trees?
No, they don't have the same predators.
So they got to be up off the ground.
So they're up off the ground. It was, dozens of them. It's not what you see in where we are. And then you drive into Yellowstone, and there are a herd of buffalo and elk and several kinds of deer and bighorn sheep, the kind with where their horns.
Yeah, with the horns. So
and you're just driving along, and it's like
All right.
I think it was my nephew that said it's like being in Jurassic Park, or maybe it was Andy that said that. And it is. It's sort of like being you're just seeing a place that is totally untouched as it was, and it's fascinating.
Well,
we got in because there was one road open into Yellowstone at this time of the year, but we got to do a lot of things, and one of which was go up high enough that we're cold and all bundled up and standing on a boardwalk over hot sulfur springs. That if you step off the boardwalk, you'll be dead, you'll be burned, you'll be melted. And then you go down to a different part of the park and strip down to your bathing suit and get into the boiling river, which is really boiling, and it's hot springs coming up into a cold river. So if you walk on one side, you're in freezing water. If you walk on the other side, you're in scalding water, and you just have to find the place in the middle that can get you through to the pools of beautiful hot water where you just sit.
Well, wow. So the geology there is fascinating.
It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And as we sat there, what happens? A bald eagle comes soaring over our heads.
Mm-hmm.
I just like you can't. It's like Hugh the Eagle. We were.
Susan's in nature, and listen, her voice sounds different. Susan is, you sound good, Suze. I'm glad. How long are you staying? How long are you staying?
Thrilled, a week, and I
Cool.
am just thrilled that I who am not inclined to
Be outdoorsy.
To be outdoorsy, to accept the invitations of others to travel with them, to do anything out of my comfort zone. Let's be honest. I am so grateful / proud that I came.
Good.
And recommend anyone a little trip to this wonderful little idyllic spot. It's just wonderful. Good food too.
You see, Susan, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, Susan, who are listening to rave like this are saying, well, yeah, we go to Yellowstone.
Of course, they know.
But our family never did those kinds of trips.
There's a whole group of people that wouldn't. Montana, what's in Montana?
Right, no, we just never did that kind of, we never went camping, we never went hiking, we never
did anything.
Well, that's not quite true.
No, we got in cars or airplanes and did those kind of vacations.
Right, but we never did
to urban areas.
Right. We were urban folk. So,
right.
Well, Mom was looking for a place. I was trying to get us to get Mom to the Grand Canyon.
Well, we're going to do it
because she's never seen it. She's 93.
I talked to her about this yesterday.
Okay, she's going to go now? We're going to go?
Yeah, so the three of us are going to go.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Because I've never been there. I mean, I've flown over it. Whoa! Look at that. But I think it'd be more impressive to be feet on the ground, as they say. Yeah. All right, Suze. Well, wonderful. I'm happy.
All right, I'll stop rhapsodizing.
I know, but see, she's yeah.
I mean, where else can you commune with nature and buy gorgeous art, which I also did?
Oh no, you're buying art, are you?
Yeah,
Good.
I bought a little bit more to put in certain places in my house.
Well, I'm happy for you. Meanwhile, back in the real world.
Yeah.
Don't look. So, Sue...
Did you see that Donald's kids aren't registered to vote?
Two of them. Ivanka and Eric, I forgot. Well, what my guess is they were not necessarily registered Republicans. And it's a closed primary there, right? Yeah, so you have to... It could be they didn't change their registration in time. Also, Ivanka, you'll recall, was with child.
She just gave birth. Yes, she just gave birth.
Yeah, so we'll give
she
her...
had other things on her mind, but I find it amusing.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump, he is going to grace Pittsburgh with his presence tomorrow, and I cannot imagine more of a madhouse than Pittsburgh from Oakland to the Point, to the North Shore, is going to be tomorrow evening, because Susan, Trump is coming to tape a Sean Hannity show with a live audience, and that's in Oakland, where the University of Pittsburgh is. That's at 5:30. At 7, he intends to be downtown at the convention center for one of his big rallies, okay? Meanwhile, in between those two venues and happening at the same time is the first game of the NHL playoffs with the Penguins playing. So you can imagine the number of people converging on the hockey game, a playoff hockey game, converging to fill the convention center here for Donald Trump. And the Pirates also are playing a 7 o'clock game.
The first place Pirates.
Yeah, hey, man, we swept your former team there.
I know. We're just playing with you.
No doubt. But I was at that game, and it was the third one, and it was that was fun. It's always fun when you beat the Cardinals. So, there's going to be a perfect storm of traffic in this city tomorrow evening. And I would say to anybody who's going to any of those venues, I would start on your way about now.
At 3 in the...
No,
yeah, right.
about now.
Right about
really?
now.
Yeah, right. Come on, get the kids in the car and off you go right now, because it's going to be a madhouse. So there you have it. I will stay ensconced in my home away from it all. Hey, I got a little feeler that maybe I'm going to go to the Republican convention.
You're kidding.
Maybe.
With whom?
Well, with the city paper. Pittsburgh
Cool.
City Paper. They're sending, they're trying to get up to 5 people credentialed, I believe. And
you're going as the comic relief?
No, they had. Well, I would like to go. That's going to be a hell of a show.
A hell of a scary show, yeah.
Yeah, so we got to think about it. And I mean, if you don't have the credentials, you don't bother going. Even with the credentials, it's a pain in the neck. Having covered 2 conventions, one in Detroit and one in New York City, it's holy hell. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, but this one will be...
This one.
Oh, man,
my
get to go.
God. Oh, my God. And since this one might be really sort of historic, yeah, I'd love to. Not that I want to spend time in Cleveland, but what the hell? Absolutely.
You have no idea, Cleveland might be a very nice...
Well, that's true. But, when you live in Pittsburgh, you waste no opportunity to take a shot at Cleveland, and I assure you they return the compliment. It's one of those things.
Right, I'm sure.
It's a meaningless blood feud of sorts. I don't know. So, Susan, you're out there in the beautiful wilderness, and I have some good news about the beautiful wilderness. They say the number of tigers in the wild...
Yeah, it's increasing for the first time.
...in a century. And that shows what you can do when we all get together and say, hey, we're going to lose these magnificent animals. My God, could we stop? And you know what? There aren't many. They're saying there are fewer than 4,000 tigers in the world. Think about that.
Oh, jeez.
In the world. Fewer than 4,000. And but in 2010, they estimated there was about 3,200. And now it's ticked up to 3,900. And the movement is up. And so if you ask a follow-up question like, how the hell do you count tigers in the whole world? How do you think you do? You do.
Well, there are people out in the wild, and they're honestly, they are counting and tagging them.
Right, there's trackers. There are human trackers, but tigers are notoriously private and nocturnal, so they are not easy to lay eyes on. But listen to this. Another way they do it is they find, during the day, tiger shit.
Yeah, poop, of course.
Tiger excrement. And it's analyzed. Each little piece of crap they find is analyzed for its DNA because they can know the specific tiger that put that little thing down. So they also have cameras that are triggered by movement, right? And they're planted in the forests to help capture. And when they do, a camera captures a picture of a tiger. Do you know, again, they aren't banded, Susan. They are recognizable. So they're being identified by their DNA, but also by, I didn't know
the pattern.
This. Yes.
The pattern of their stripes.
The pattern of their stripes.
Sure.
It's like fingerprints. No, I mean, tiger, a tiger is a tiger. No. They don't all look alike. As a matter of fact, they all look different. And you learn to read the stripes and see who's who.
Speaking of poop, I bought my grandson a book about all the different kinds of poop in Yellowstone.
Did you? He'll like that. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. What did I remember buying my son when he was really young a book called Everybody Poops. Do you remember that book?
Yeah, I do remember that book. That book.
That poop.
That poop.
Everybody Poops. But I can't remember what was in the book.
It was about all these different beings that poop. So,
you mean like different animals
poop.
and stuff? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't remember the content exactly. So, what else?
Mine's Yellowstone specific.
Okay. So, Yellowstone. Is there a particular thing in Yellow? How did it get its name?
I don't know. I didn't ask, but yes, if you would ask me, did I see yellow cliffs in Yellowstone?
Yeah,
from
you
all
did.
the sulfur around there? Yeah, I did.
Okay, sulfur, yeah, yellow, yeah. So sulfur stinks to high heaven.
In places it does, yes. You can certainly smell it.
Well, the idea of hell being, sulfurous. It's not a pleasant.
Well, no, we were talking about that as we walked through, because as you're in this country, you can't help but marvel that people wandered out here not knowing where the hell they were and how they got through this country.
Hey, The Revenant
was filmed here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, as you encounter, for example, these sulfur springs where there are now signs all over, don't step at the thin crust, you can disappear, you can be melted, all that. Well, I mean, you would think you walked into hell.
Yeah.
It's steaming, it's dangerous. You go into the rivers and it's ice cold, and then it's ice, then it's hot.
Susan, I was thinking of the movie The Princess Bride, and where they go into that forest that is like the most frightening place, holes open up and beasts come out of here. And that would be what it was if you've never been there.
That's right.
Right. Beware the boiling river. Watch this. Seriously. I mean,
but if
God.
you had the guts to get in it, you'd be so happy. You would have found the biggest natural bathtub ever.
Wow. Okay, so let's get down to business here.
Did you hear about Hillary Clinton getting in trouble, making a bad joke?
I saw a headline, her and de Blasio, and they were doing colored people time?
But that was the setup for the joke. But it was more something politicians. I forgot the punchline.
Okay, but I got to tell you,
it's such a nothing story.
But it is. But this is what we do. So we wait for one of them to say something that you can take offense at, and then we talk about it for the next 24 hours. It's this gotcha bullshit, nonsensical. Who gives a goddamn? Okay. Thank you.
Well, that's sort of how I felt about it. It was really stupid. What was the?
It's always
fun?
It always is. So, Susan, I just got to get something off my chest because I was reading our morning paper.
Yes, but your cautious politician time is what it was. I just thought it was interesting because you and I had brought up we were talking about colored people time not a month ago.
Right, and Clarence called
up.
Because
Clarence
I was a little...
called up, right.
Yes. It's Clarence who told me the phrase a long time ago, colored people time.
Right.
Yeah. But Goldman Sachs and the United States government representing us have apparently settled on what is like a fine for Goldman Sachs helping to tank the entire global economy, and by selling crap and saying it was gold, essentially. And other banks have already settled. This destroyed lives all over the world. So Goldman settles. They got to pay about $5 billion in fines.
$6 billion.
Wait a minute. Okay, $6 billion. Well, I have roughly five is what I'm seeing here, but it doesn't matter. It's nothing It's nothing.
And nobody.
And not one person. Right. So, Mr. Goldman ain't in trouble. Mr. Sachs isn't in trouble. None of the people under them are going to jail. They destroyed an economy. They destroyed people's retirement savings. They made people homeless. All of this stuff. But the way it works, if you're a rich person, is you don't pay. Now, I was pissed enough when I saw that. But then, that was in the Pittsburgh paper. Then I see the New York Times. And oh my God, it's worse. Because they say this. State and federal officials say that Goldman Sachs will pay $5.1 billion to settle accusations of wrongdoing prior to the financial crisis. Yeah, the financial crisis that they're wrongdoing.
Right.
Created. Okay, so, but then it says, but that is just on paper. Buried in the fine print are provisions that allow Goldman Sachs to pay as much as $1 billion less than what the headlines are saying. And that is even before the tax benefits that they will get from this deal are included.
They can write off. They'll be able to write it all off.
Susan, you
so
read...
taking it off the other end. They aren't going to pay any taxes for 55 years because they're paying... And let me ask...
So there's no...
Who gets the fine?
The fine. Listen, wait. It says, for example, the settlement calls for Goldman to spend $250 million on affordable housing, since they made so many people homeless. Affordable housing. But, the New York Times tells us, a chart attached to the settlement explains that the bank will have to pay, at most, about 30% of that to fulfill the deal, because it will receive a particularly large credit for each dollar it spends. This is the punishment that, it makes you. This is what.
Here's what the settlement is. We're going to give you a lot of business.
It's unbelievable.
Go build some housing, get the benefits from that.
Now understand this. This is the Justice Department of a Democratic president. This is the Obama Justice Department or the Obama SEC, whatever. This is. Can you imagine? God dang it. And so the thing I'm reading in the Post-Gazette, which is from the Associated Press, is lousy reporting, in that it does not tell you what the New York Times at least tells you, which is, here's what they're telling us, here's the reality. This isn't costing them anything.
I have to say, though, I do not understand why no one goes to jail.
Well, because...
I don't get it.
Too big.
Just because the color of their skin. Why isn't anybody going?
It's the color. No,
jail?
It's not the color of their skin. It's the size of their pocketbooks.
Of their endowments.
It's like the system. The system is. They're bigger. They're bigger than the politics. The corporate, the economic system, the capitalist infrastructure, the whole thing is a bigger and more powerful thing than the government that supposedly regulates it.
I know, but
so
I'm
that's
saying that those guys did a whole lot more harm than the guy rotting in jail for getting caught with a pound of marijuana.
I know. It's enough to make you crazy. And then right next to that, there's another story about the fact that the rich in America can expect to live a decade longer than a poor person in America. And so there you have the rich don't get. I mean, what else can we do for these poor rich people? They live longer. Every law we pass seems to be about allowing them to accrue more and more and more and more at the expense.
And we forgive them all their sins.
Yeah, I mean, really. Wow. Wowee. Sorry, but that made me angry. It was a good thing the Tigers made a rebound, or I would have been in a real bad mood. However, Susan.
Yes.
Letter to the editor today. There are letters to the editor about Ted Cruz there's one about Ted Cruz is the guy to clean up everything we've just been talking about. There's another about Christianity in spring, and there's one about Pope Francis, and there's all these, blah, 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 the usuals. And then there's this. A guy named Gary Wade of Greentree felt the need to write a letter to the editor. And it goes like this. Now, you'll like it because you could have written it, because I've heard you make this same complaint. But stop and think of that this is what you write a letter to the editor about. Here we go. Many of us who love wine and live in the Pittsburgh area lament the fact that the vast majority of restaurants, including some of the best in the city, serve red wine too warm.
Yeah!
This is a Susan gripe. Personally, it doesn't rise. Susan, even you wouldn't write a letter to the editor about it. Yeah, okay.
I don't even complain at the restaurant.
I know. Okay. So this guy, this is of all the problems you could wanna. But the best in the city serve what? A glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Mr. Wade writes, served at 75 degrees Fahrenheit, can be quite unpleasant.
Yep, it gets syrupy and cloying.
Excuse me, I'm not done. An article on wine that focuses on the restaurants that have made an effort to serve red wine at the proper temperature, that would be low to mid 60 degree Fahrenheit, would be great. So he's telling the Post-Gazette to get on it and do a story on the proper temperature of wine. And then he finishes off by saying, some have started using a draft system to serve red and white at appropriate temperatures. Gary Wade, Greentree.
Well, here, I agree. It's not anything to write a letter to the editor about. But the rule is, you take white wine out of the refrigerator a half an hour before you want to serve it. You put red wine into the refrigerator for a half an hour before you want to serve it, and it'll be the proper temperature.
And they'll both, the white wine will warm up a little, and the red wine will cool down a little.
Yeah. It just makes red wine a little, red wines that are prone to be that way, it makes them thick and syrupy. And
why did Margie just text me saying Dick Cheney should have been dead a long time ago? Did he die?
Did Dick Cheney die?
No, I don't think so. But what made Margie write Dick Cheney should have been dead a long time ago? Surely he's too mean to die. He will outlive us all. He ain't dead. Why'd you write that?
I don't think he's dead.
No, but why would you write that? I mean, I agree with the sentiment, but yeah, Susan said, apropos of what?
Right. Although we've been having fun that's sort of been the theme of our week. As we were driving to Yellowstone, we found a ranch called Big Dick's Ranch.
Well, he is from Montana, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. We were going to take a picture of Big Dick.
Big Dick's Ranch. Oh, God. I remember always saying, the aptly named Dick.
The aptly named Dick Cheney. Right.
I know. Oh, dear.
I don't know. He doesn't seem to be dead.
No, he doesn't seem to be dead, so he's not. I mean, and I haven't said he is, but I don't understand the why that thought occurred to Margie. At any rate, Susan.
Yes.
I don't like mosquitoes. Do you
That's
know
the only thing there are mosquitoes here. I have to say that.
there are?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised at that.
Me too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Dalai Lama even said something about mosquitoes the other day in which you could tell he said something about they're not appreciative. What does that mean? He sometimes, if he's in a good mood, lets them suck his blood. And then when they fly off, he gets mad because he says they're not appreciative. Don't ask. However, this is to get us to the Zika virus. Because this thing is starting to look scary. There are mosquitoes that carry this in 30 states of this union already. Okay?
Yep.
And it ain't summer yet.
No.
Yeah.
I've never been so glad to be an old spade woman in my life.
Yeah, I know. But if you are of childbearing age, and especially if you live in swampy southern places in this country, the Louisiana bayous, things like that, this is going to be a very scary... We've got a call. Hang on. Yeah. Hello?
Hello. Hey, the reason she probably wrote that because he's rich and he's living poor. That's why.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what she has. She's typed me saying rich people live 10
why.
years older. Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you.
And one other thing. Did you see Chris Matthews on? Oh, you probably don't watch anymore.
No, I don't.
I don't usually watch too much, but he had a Trump or Cruz supporter, and he said Trump won't have enough delegates. He said so. We'll give Cruz, who has less delegates, the nomination. That seems fair. And I always said that and then they'll say, well, that's the rules. But the rules are crooked anyway, so it just...
Well, the rules can be changed.
On the Democrat side, too, that's the rules with the superdelegates. The whole thing's crooked. But
yeah, I agree.
Well, that's how it's been. Well, that doesn't make it right.
No, what it is, it's not necessarily crooked, because if you tell people what the rules are, then everything is above board. What it is, and we're learning this, is it's misleading. We have the sense that this primary stuff is about the people, we the people,
right, deciding
who each party is going to run. And that's not true. That's what we've learned. I've learned it this time around. I never knew it before. Each party is an entity in and of itself. They control the process. And,
If the process isn't working, they can change it.
And there's nothing, you understand, there's nothing in the Constitution about parties. The founders didn't say anything about parties and how they would be. There are laws that govern how parties operate a little bit, but no. So this is how you get the debacle in Colorado where they don't even, I mean, it's insane. Every state is different.
Yeah,
some do these caucuses, which are not democratic.
No.
Some do primaries, allowing anyone to vote. Others have closed primaries. And out of this crazy mishmash, each party hopes to get the right nominee. But clearly, if they see something happening like the Republicans do that they don't like, they can change rules, they can do this, they can do that. They'll have to live with the consequences, but yeah, it's not a democratic process. That's what we have found out.
And I'm one for the popular vote, even. I don't like that electoral college.
No, I don't either.
I don't like that.
We wouldn't have George W. Bush. Yeah.
Because certain states have more, like Ohio. Who cares what Ohio? The whole country should be voting for the person.
I understand.
That's how they should do it.
Yeah, but that's not how it's done.
No. It's like I said, like you say, it's not democratic or democracy or whatever you want to call it.
No, it's not. It's not.
So,
it's interesting. I mean, well, so we all live and learn, huh?
I was hoping Bernie would pull it out here in New York and give Hillary a run for her money, but it doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either.
No. Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
Listening.
But thank you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so back to the scary Zika virus. So the government and the Obama administration is saying to Congress, God help us, hey guys, we need a lot more money to gear up to fight this and to deal with it, to try to prevent and then to deal with infection as it happens. And, of course, what do the Republicans say?
No.
No. No, use the money. We don't have any money for you. Use the money that you were doing for Ebola. And so the White House said, yeah, okay, sure. But that's not anywhere near what we need. We need another $500 million. We're going to pull $80 million from other accounts. And if you guys don't provide us some money, we're going to have to divert money from tuberculosis prevention, from malaria prevention, from the flu vaccine programs. We don't have the money, you SOBs. And so, let me tell you, if the can you imagine this level of obstreperousness?
Well, let's just see with, any of them have wives of childbearing age or have, God forbid, children of childbearing age, and they continue with this obstinacy, we'll just have a lot of children running around with major birth defects. And, there are actual consequences that flow from these decisions.
Well, the folks at the, NIH and all these, they're freaking out. They said, the more we learn about this thing, the scarier it is. We already know there are 700 cases of Zika disease in the United States.
And it is not only mosquito-borne. Once you're bitten by a mosquito,
sexually
man or
transmitted.
Woman, it is sexually transmitted.
Okay, so
and so we're concerned about both men and women having it, because a man can give it to his appropriately pregnancy-abled partner, and if it's going to happen.
They're finding out. The more they find out about it, now they're seeing that with some people there are like these neurological effects that start up and maybe progress and get worse. They don't know this disease, and what they see is frightening. So you got to deal with mosquito eradication. And guess who? What made me think about this is when we were saying, so even the goddamn rich live longer because, of course, they have access to the best medical care. They, I don't know, whatever. They live well.
They can spray their yards for mosquitoes.
That's right. And here's the thing. So who is going to be most at risk? The poor. The poor, because they don't necessarily have air conditioning, so their windows will be open in the summer. The poor, who live in neighborhoods where standing water might be around and mosquitoes are breeding. The poor. I give you the whole damn state of Louisiana. Alabama.
Well, and the other thing is that when you look at, the programs that they do have, and one of the things that they are doing, and that is very successful, is they are releasing mosquitoes that male mosquitoes that can't actually reproduce. They think they're reproducing. They aren't. They get rid of the population, within a breeding cycle, which is about 30 days. But then you have the problem of mosquitoes are food to a lot of other creatures.
Yeah, well, for instance, to bats, who, of course, are trying, have their own epidemic going, where they're dying out left and right.
Stuff.
That's right. What a friggin' mess. Anyway.
You need to try and fix it, but you don't want to accidentally alter the whole balance of nature, which is basically what we're talking about. It's very complicated.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to have...
It should not be a political football, please.
Amazing that Republicans will, even in the face of a, not potential, but a probable public health crisis that you can get out in front of, they are saying, no, we don't have no money. The bastards. Excuse me. But the bastards. So, Susan.
Yes.
See, when you get done with the show, you can go out into nature and pet an antelope or
Actually,
something.
yeah, we're going to drive into Wyoming when I hang up. So
I bet it looks pretty much like Montana. Why bother?
Well, it does. It does. It's just
What?
over this set of mountains and that set of mountains. And even the mountains are interesting. We look at a set of mountains called the Crazies. And the Crazies are named after a crazy woman. It's actually the Crazy Woman Mountains, but they're shortened to the Crazies. And it's apparently named after a woman that went nuts when the crow killed her whole family, and she went into the mountains, and forever they were called the Crazy Mountains.
At first, when you said the crow killed her family, I thought, geez, I like crows. They're such nice birds, and they're very bright.
They are very bright, and there's a lot of them around. No,
But you're talking about...
referring to the truck. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, right. Blame the Indians.
Well, lots of history around here, really.
Oh, yeah, right.
I mean, Butch Cassidy had a failed attempt of robbing the Red Lodge bank, and it's still there.
Susan, you're definitely in tourist mode.
I'm having fun.
I know you are. Susan sent me pictures. She's having fun. It's quite clear. That's nice. I'm happy for you. I am. I'm happy for you. So, let's see. I got a few other little things here. If anybody else has something we're supposed to be talking about and I'm not, feel free.
And I'm no help because I haven't
I
looked
know.
at the newspaper.
Right.
in
That's why, in part,
week.
she is so happy. She hasn't.
I am though totally. I have to say, I'm totally frustrated and scared by the fact that what we're going to do is, do one of those out of the frying pan and into the fire things. And anybody that thinks that Ted Cruz is a happier choice, this is just awful.
Yeah.
I'd almost, I'm back to where you were about a month ago, hoping that we get Trump.
Right. Trump, Trump, Trump. Apparently Pennsylvania is going to go for Trump. Yes! And Hillary. So, Princeton. That's a fancy schmancy little enclave. You ever been there? Princeton, New Jersey?
I have been to Princeton, yes. I have been to Princeton.
Princeton, New Jersey? I don't think I have. Princeton High School. They actually have a public school there. I don't know why I didn't think they would.
What do you mean? What do you mean they actually have a public school there?
I don't know. I think of Princeton, then I think of a lot of WASPs sending their kids to boarding schools.
Okay, so what about the Princeton public schools, which of course exist?
Princeton High School. Apparently, there's some trouble there because students there were playing, you know what beer pong is?
Yeah.
You do?
Well, it's a drinking game. I mean, I don't know how you get to drink, but it amounts to drinking after something happens, yes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Beer pong, Celine? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a drinking game.
It's a drinking game. Okay. Well, at Princeton High, they were playing a variation of beer pong, which was called Jews versus Nazis.
Oh, good.
Unbelievable. Apparently, Jews versus Nazis is played in other places, too. Yeah, I can't think of why a drinking game based on the Holocaust would be a
bad idea.
No. All those little Princetonians. Yeah, that's interesting. There were reports 2 years ago of students playing what was not called Jews versus Nazis, but was called Holocaust Pong. But here's the one I like, as the name goes. They're all pretty much the same game. Here's one that was called Alcoholocaust. Holocaust. Alcoholocaust. Susan is silent.
I am sorry. I'm trying to figure out what causes you to drink. I mean, what's the game?
Oh, God! You want to know what the game is? Well, I don't know how it works.
Well,
Huh?
Totally.
Well, here's what
Yeah, okay.
it says here, that these games were played, too, at the University of Massachusetts, at Amherst, where, by the way, anti-Semitic vandalism has been reported recently. It says here, the photo that was on social media showed students pouring beer into plastic cups that were arranged in the shapes of a swastika and the Star of David. I don't know, though, what makes you take the drink.
Where do you want to go with this, Lynn?
I don't want to go anywhere with it. I just, what is just the stubborn...
See, the problem is...
Oh, so, okay, this is where I want to go with it. You tell me. What is the problem?
The problem is that there has to be a fine line between totally offensive and politically correct.
Right.
And there has to be some sort of sense of sensibility. And this seems to be over the line.
Well,
only because, that's my point of view, I don't know.
Well, here. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, they have their First Amendment rights to be totally offensive, although in high school they are probably running afoul of drinking age laws.
Yeah. But here's the other thing. The reason this came to light is a 17-year-old girl, not Jewish, by the way. Her name is Jessica Ponder. She saw this picture that the kids were, the swastika and and she was appalled. Just a kid, appalled. And she wrote something on social media, and it, started to get out there more. And now she is like a pariah at Princeton High. So the kid who stands up and says, "This is wrong," is the one who becomes the goat. Isn't that something?
Well, that's how it always works.
Not always.
And I just want to say I only got the general gist of that because at my end, you're breaking up.
Uh-oh. Well, that'd be your phone, not us.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Okay, well, are you able to continue?
Yes.
What did you hear there? Able to?
I know. I heard that whole thing. I think it's somehow when it's something about where your mouth is in relation to the mic or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, I will keep it close.
But I think what you said is that that somebody told on social media and she got in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the way it is. How dare you, out us?
Right, the person who brought it to light is the one now that is, and social media, man, the public shaming thing, the takedown of people now that goes on. Jeez. Wow. Something, isn't it?
Well, I think the natural consequence is going to be that people stop it. They just go, well, this is no fun. I think, for example, Facebook, people are long over,
Wrong, Suze. You're over. But some people, I swear, they live there.
Well, then there's the group of people that totally overshare. And then the group of people that are tired of it because they're tired of the oversharing and they just sort of disappear. Plus, I have to say what really aggravates me, because I am on Facebook to see pictures of family all over the place, is Facebook's habit of popping up special memories from my past for me, which, frequently take my breath away and hurt me.
Because
they don't know about
your husband.
Right. Yeah, they'll up will pop a picture of my husband, and and then I don't even know how they got it. And we thought you'd like to look at this picture from your past life. And I started writing him back, no, I wouldn't. Get out of my life. And then they write you back, I'm sorry you didn't like that, but it's just so awful.
See, I don't do it, and I don't, I don't know. I don't even understand.
It's what happens when young people who haven't had anything terrible happen to them think of great things to do.
Well, so there's no ill intent. It's
no, there's no ill intent. They think everybody only has happy memories.
Yeah. Okay.
And may their lives continue to be that blissful. That's all I have to say.
So
I don't think it'll happen. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, there was this article. I've talked about this somewhat before, but the jobs that kids coming out of school now, aspire to are like, to work at Google, to work at Amazon, to work at some, software company. And I know one kid, my son's best friend, who did. He went right from the University of Maryland out to Seattle or Portland or wherever the hell it is.
Seattle.
To work at Amazon.
No, I thought you were going Google. Okay.
No, I think it's Portland. And I don't know. Whatever. When I talked to him a year into this great job, making good money, he was so clearly the most stressed out kid I've ever seen. He's bright as blazes. And he said, all you do is work. The pressure is unbelievable. He said, there's sort of like always this sword hanging over your head. People, he said, I've been there now a year, and I'm one of the longer tenured people in my little group. And you're graded constantly, and I guess his grade last time was a little dangerous. So he's working. I mean, you can't work hard enough. You can't do enough, blah, 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 blah. This, it turns out, what he described to me is the way it works in these new places now. And this piece I read was how the new tech workplace is absolutely no different than the old sweatshops.
No, it's not only no different, but and it's in a lot of ways frequently far more sexist.
Right.
It's adolescent sort of.
It's an ugly, mean.
It's
right.
an ugly, mean,
horrible.
Sort of excuse the expression, adolescent boy atmosphere.
Right.
And very unpleasant for everybody.
Yeah, but listen to this. Okay, here's a place called HubSpot. It's a software company. And the guy who writes this is a guy who had been in journalism and then thought, I'm going to get into this tech stuff. And he went off and he worked there. So he's writing from, he saw it. And he says this, I worked there for almost 2 years, and here's what happens when you get fired. First of all, they don't call it fired. You know what they call it? Graduation.
I'm telling you, it's adolescent.
Listen to this. It gets worse. It says all of us would get a cheery email from the boss saying, team, just letting you know that so-and-so has graduated, and we're all excited to see how she uses her superpowers in her next big adventure. And then undoubtedly, they throw a party for the person on her way out. And the woman fired in this case was 35 years old, had been with the company for 4 years, and was told without explanation by her 28-year-old manager that she had 2 weeks to get out. 2 weeks to graduate. Okay. And he says it was surreal, it was cruel, but everyone at HubSpot acted as if this was perfectly normal. Because we were told we were rock stars who were inspiring people and changing the world. But in truth, we kept seeing we were disposable. And then they talk about how the tech sector is proud of this model, that Jeff Bezos, in fact, who is the founder of Amazon, he has said that people who didn't like the grueling culture of his workplaces were free to work elsewhere. He says, this is the way we do it. And it is true. Studies show that the typical tenure at Amazon is 1 year. 1 year.
Well, and this is because, look at when Amazon was becoming Amazon and the power it was. It was when the economy went totally to hell and there were no jobs. And because of the way we treat our workers, they have no power. They have no recourse. The employer has all the power, and you're disposable. There's more of you where you came from.
And it doesn't say absolutely, and it doesn't matter. These are the same places that, you can wear your sweats, you can bring your dog. Oh, this looks so cool. They give you unlimited vacation and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but don't dare take it. Right?
That's right.
Right.
Unlimited vacation means
don't take
that we aren't going to tell you what your boundaries are. You have to guess. And if you guess wrong, you graduate.
So
what happens is nobody takes their vacation.
That's right.
It's extremely cynical.
Right.
It's extremely cynical.
Right. So here's what the guy who lived it for 2 years says. Imagine a frat house mixed with a kindergarten, mixed with Scientology, and you have an idea what this environment is like.
Right. Okay, and I'm just saying that's a man writing that. Mm-hmm. So imagine, because even he calls it a frat house, what it's like if you're a woman.
Here's what he says. Bias based on age, race, and gender is rampant, as is sexual harassment. The free snacks are nice, but you also must tolerate having your head stuffed with stupid jargon and ideology about being on a mission to change the world. And he says this kind of, the way they're doing business is being emulated by you read about this and it's like, it's frightening. He says, it's clear these are digital sweatshops. People are packed into huge rooms side by side at long tables. Instead of hunching over sewing machines, they stare into laptops or are barked into headsets selling software. Tech workers have no job security. You are serving a tour of duty.
No, in fact, in many times, you live, quote, on campus.
Yeah, you live on campus. It's like remember when you first heard that that's how the Chinese people, these poor guys working for Google or something in China were living the same place they worked, and they were committing suicide, jumping out a building, out of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
it's the same sort of.
It's the same model. That's what happened.
Anyway, so this guy says, make no mistake, Jeff Bezos and all the others who are patting themselves on the back for creating some kind of new kind of workplace, 21st century workplace environment, are actually simply playing the oldest game in the world, which is the exploitation of labor by those with the capital. That's it.
Yep.
Just done differently. So I just wanted to tell you, you want your kid to grow up and go off and get a job at Google? Think again. Think again. He might make some money, she might make some money, but at quite a price. And on that happy note, Susan, off to Wyoming with you.
Okay.
And say hi to all those wonderful people you're with.
I will.
I like them all.
They really are.
I know they are.
You do. Okay.
I know, Suze. Have fun.
Okay.
Okay, bye. And you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Trump Day in Pittsburgh. Ooh.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.